Malawi national anthem then played by
Excellency, the President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. Lazarus Makafe Chakwera, Your Honor, Dr. Saulos Klaus CHILIMA, Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, and Madame Mary CHILIMA, Right Honorable Catherine Gotani Hara, MP, Speaker of the Malawi Parliament, present here, Your Ladyship Justice Ibe Jatakamanga, Justice of Appeal, all Cabinet and Deputy Ministers here present, political leaders in the Tonse Alliance and all members of the Alliance here present, Your Excellency Judge Gunn, High Commissioner of the Republic of Malawi and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellencies, Heads of Mission, and all members of the Diplomatic Corps here present, Mr. Zanga Zanga Chikosi, Secretary to the President and Cabinet, and all senior government officials here present, Your Worship Juliana Kaduya, Mayor of the City of Lilongwe, and all the councillors here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and all invited guests who are here tonight. Good evening, and welcome to this public lecture. However, before we begin everything, I would like to invite Dr. Henry Chingaipe to open with a word of prayer. Dr. Chingaipe.
Shall we pray? God, our Heavenly Father, you are our omnipotent and omnipresent planner. You make no mistake. We bask in the glorious abundance of your grace despite our inadequacies. We come to you this evening in reverence and total submission to your will. We are galvanized in our collective will to beseech thee at the onset of a candid national discourse on mindset change, because you have told us in your own words that where there is no vision, the people perish. We do not want to perish. After several decades in search of inclusive economic prosperity, transformative governance, and social justice, it has dawned upon us that the yoke of poverty and the curse of mediocrity that have typified our society and suppressed our collective potential for a breakthrough are rooted in our collective mindset and national psyche, as reflected in our political culture, our attitudes towards leadership, our attitudes towards our own duties. We thank you, our God, for this insight and for the courage bestowed on our Vice President, your servant Saulos Klaus CHILIMA, to kick off a national conversation on what we need to change about our collective mindset and how to do so. Bless our President, your servant Lazarus Chakwera, the Vice President, and all political leaders charged with the task of managing our public affairs, to lead us by example by demonstrating that we can change our mindset from the politics of exclusion to the politics of inclusion, from self-serving elitism to servant and altruistic leadership, from using the instruments and power of the state for the unholy self-enrichment to using them for the greatest good, for the greatest numbers in our society. I now ask you, God, to bless the Vice President, that his words tonight on mindset change shall proclaim your greatness and your plans for our country. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for that prayer. If you can allow me, I would like to take off the mask so you can hear me very clearly. As your convener tonight, it is an honor for me to once again welcome you all here at the Bingu International Convention Center for the Mindset Change public lecture to be delivered by the Right Honorable Vice President Dr. Saulos Klaus CHILIMA. I am Dr. Asiat Lorraine Chiweza, an Associate Professor of Public Administration in the Department of Political and Administrative Studies at Chancellor College. I want to thank you all here for coming to participate in this very important dialogue at this crucial time in the history of our nation. It is my expectation that you'll be a great audience. I also extend my appreciation to you that are following this event virtually via Zoom, Twitter, and Facebook. We are also live on many television and radio stations in the country. We are live on all Zodiac broadcasting station platforms, television, radio, and Facebook Live. We are also live on Mibawa Television, Tiveni Media, Rainbow Television, Lunta Television, Nij Radio, and the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to these media houses for offering to cover live this important event for free. A round of applause for them, please. At this point in time, may I invite Tawaniso Malewezi to give us his poem. Tawaniso.
Your Excellency, the President, the Right Honorable Vice President, all protocols observed. Before I perform my poem, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to come and share some art with you. The poem that I'll perform, I think it's befitting for the topic this evening, and it's titled People, and it's an exploration of the human condition. People see people. People meet people. People greet people. People like people. People know people. People trust people. People love people. People make people happy. People give people. People hope people give people. People beg people, people ignore people, people forget people. People tell people about people. People believe people. People betray people. People hurt people. Hurt people, hurt people. People forgive people. People change people. People surprise people always. People choose people, people use people, people lose people. People like people, people like. People want people, people have. People have people, people want. People have people, people have. People give people what people have. People infect people. People blame people, people judge people. People divide people, people fight people, people slay people, people maim people, people burn people, people bomb people, people stone people, people rape people. People keep people from people. People sell people to people. People buy people for people. People kill people. People help people kill people. People watch people kill people. People scrape people from people like people are not people. People protect people. People save people. People guide people. People serve people. People hope, people think, people know, people are people. People inspire people to be better at being people. One day, people will show people how to be people. Just by being people, by just being people, by being just people. Teaching lessons that unite people into a people. On that day, people will truly see people and say, we are more than just people. We are a just people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that interesting poem. Another round of applause for him, please. As we proceed with our program, allow me to run through the program. Shortly, I'll be inviting His Honor, the Vice President, to deliver the public lecture. But let me contextualize this public lecture. The gist of a public lecture is that it is an event where an individual who has studied a particular topic in greater detail would like to share his ideas about that particular topic. But it also provides an opportunity for informing and educating the public, but also engagement with the wider public through an open discussion. And this is what we are going to do tonight. The phrase mindset change has been raised by various leaders in this country, but has not been a subject of much open discussion. So this is what is happening tonight. Initializing conversation and discussion about mindset change. And I believe there are many questions out there. What is mindset change? How can we achieve mindset change? What are the benefits? This change that we are talking about, from where to what? So after the presentation, the Vice President will take a few questions from the audience right here at the ViCE and also from social media platforms. So let me explain that as we do this, we will invite you to raise your hand if you have a question, and then we will recognize you. You are free to ask the questions or even comments in English or Chichewa. We'll also take some questions randomly from social media platforms such as Zoom, Facebook, and Twitter. But bear this in mind. When sending us the questions, please tell us your name, where are you watching or listening from, but also the question. Once the question time is over and the Vice President leaves the stage, we will have remarks from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. Lazarus Makase Chakwera, who is with us this evening. On this note, therefore, it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Saulos Klaus CHILIMA, Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, to come forward and deliver the lecture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium His Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. Saulos Klaus CHILIMA.
Your Excellency, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, the President of the Republic of Malawi, Madam Mary CHILIMA, Right Honorable Catherine Gotani Hara, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Your Ladyship, Justice Ivy Kamanga, sitting in for the Chief Justice, all Cabinet Ministers and Deputy Ministers present here this evening, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, I recognize the presence of the Secretary to the President of the Cabinet and all senior government officials that are present with us tonight, all political leaders, all traditional leaders, all religious leaders, all leaders from the private sector, distinguished invited guests here present, fellow citizens following on different media platforms, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you this evening, Your Excellency, and all protocols as observed, to share just my perspective on mindset change. It is a topic that is dear to your heart, Your Excellency. We have discussed this on a number of occasions. It is one of the enablers in the National Development or in the National Planning Commission's National Transformation Agenda 2063, and I think it is a topic that we as a people must directly and fearlessly engage in. Let me start by acknowledging your presence, Your Excellency. I would like to sincerely thank you for accepting the invitation to be here. It's a rare opportunity that you could spare your time to join us this evening, and for that I would like everybody present here to give His Excellency a round of applause. Yes, indeed, Excellency, you believe in the cause, you believe in the topic, but to spare time to be here is beyond just belief. It is conviction. Tonight, and very briefly, I will share with you, like I said, my perspective on mindset change. And this is not exhaustive, not being apologetic, but it is a fact. We will start the discussion or the debate, or continue the debate, as others have said. And I think we must continue with this debate in earnest. I have a summary in PowerPoint format, and I also have a paper which is written and will also be made available once we have cleared the small things, the grammar and the typos. To start us this evening, Your Excellency, this country always professes to be God-fearing, and therefore in case some of us today forgot to worship.
When I am down and myself so weary, when troubles come and my heart presents me, then I am still and wait here in a silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than love can be. Raise me up to more than I can be.
So, the topic for tonight is the imperative for mindset change for national development in Malawi. And therefore, key messages in there: the imperative for mindset change and it being a key in national development as we continue with our development agenda. In my lecture tonight, I will take you through some definitions. I will share some examples. We will define mindset change and give examples. We will tonight share some intrinsic issues in this country that need to change if we are going to move this country forward. And when we get to that stage, and especially when we come for the Q&A, let's engage in earnest from our hearts how we think we can move this country forward. And as I wind down, I will share with you some quotes that I find inspirational before I ask all of us to engage in action. A call to action. And therefore, to start, to basically say, what is mindset? To put it simplistically, before we get into the literature around mindset, one could say mindset is the way we see ourselves. Mindset is how we do things. And others have defined mindset as the established set of attributes held by someone. That someone is me, that someone is you, that someone could be somebody else that we know. And yet others have also defined mindset as a person's way of thinking and their opinions. You hold very strong opinions. If it were in politics, you're on the extreme right, or you're on the extreme left, or you're in the center. You form an opinion. It is the way you think. It is your conviction. It is your mindset. Going further is to then say, what are the examples of mindset? First, a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is a trait in people who believe their basic qualities like intelligence or talent, and that these are simply fixed. They'll spend their time documenting their intelligence or talent instead of developing. Go back to the topic. It's a mindset change as an imperative for development. With a fixed mindset, we don't develop. We also believe that talent alone creates success without any effort. Unfortunately, Excellency, fellow citizens, these people are wrong. Even in the Holy Bible, they say, if you don't work, you must not eat. So therefore, having talent alone and not developing it and putting effort may not bring about the desired result, the desired development that we for so long want. Oxford Dictionary defines mindset as established set of attributes held by someone. The Free Dictionary defines mindset as a fixed mental attitude or disposition that predetermines a person's responses to, as well as their interpretation of a situation. Now, if you possess, or if you're one person with a fixed mindset, this is as much as you believe it. On the contrary, the other trait is that of a growth mindset. This is when students come to understand that their learning can rewire the brain and increase their intelligence. They often become more interested in learning and less afraid to do things that might take them, or that may actually make them look dumb. Challenge the status quo. Want to explore. In other words, they are developing a growth mindset. A growth mindset, Excellency, is about growth, not actually just about effort. In a moment, we will go into how we can actually develop a growth mindset. But how is it important? Having a growth mindset, the belief that you're in control of your own ability and can learn and improve, is the key to success. Yes, hard work, effort, persistence are all important, but not as important as having the underlying belief that you're in control of your own destiny. It is the belief, it is the conviction that we possess more, we can do more, we can conquer, we can achieve. This is the attitude This is the mindset that we want to possess. It is a progressive mindset, the attitude of winners, the attitude of successful nations. And the question therefore becomes, how do we develop a positive mindset? And there are scholars, and one of them, a renowned scholar, is Dr. Carol Dweck, who identified 25 ways on how to develop a growth mindset. Excellency, for purposes of this lecture tonight, I will be very brief. Like I said, there is a detailed paper written to support this PowerPoint presentation. But I will, for purposes of proceeding with the lecture tonight, share in bullet point form what these are. Number one, to acknowledge and embrace imperfections. We must accept that human beings' life is surely not perfect. The moment we do that, apart from developing that growth mindset, you also have peace of mind, because you have got no reason to think beyond what is necessary. Second, to view our challenges as opportunities. Very good example. We can't get investors into Malawi because there is no energy. Sir, madam, that's an opportunity for you to come and invest. It is a business opportunity. It is not a problem. Third, try different learning tactics. Life is a continuous learning process, and we have to keep on. We can't say we have learned enough. Number four, follow the research on brain plasticity. Number five, replace the word failing with the word learning. 6, stop seeking approval. Now, hold on a minute, because obviously, if you hold certain positions, you have to seek approval. So, what am I saying? You have to go and say, Excellency, we think that this is the right way to go, and this is my reasoning. And the President will agree with you. The Honorable Minister will agree with you. The President of your party will agree with you. The Chief Executive in your organization is going to agree with you. The Director General in your organization will agree with you. You have not actually gone to seek any approval. You have gone there to make your case. 7 is to value the process over the end result. Set systems that today we are here, we are not here, things will work. Cultivate a sense of purpose. Why do we live? Why do we go to work? Why do I go to school? A purpose for everything that we are doing. Celebrate growth with others. Zimenezo zisatikuze, no, celebrate with them. They have achieved something. Emphasize growth over speed. Yes. Mukujeba kutero inde, but let's follow due process. Yotuvula imadusa jisa amatero kajijewa. Process over end result, or growth over speed. Reward actions, not traits. I'm here to deliver a lecture. It is not a KPI that I agreed with His Excellency. So you can say, oh, he did a very good lecture. How for goodness sake, this has got nothing to do with the Minister of Economic Planning. redefine the word genius. There are so many geniuses here, deserved, others undeserved. Let's portray criticism as a positive. As a matter of fact, saying criticism is not rich enough. Perhaps feedback is the right word. Others will say, in life if you don't get feedback, it is like flying an aircraft without a radar. You must continuously get feedback. The concept of a mirror versus a camera. A mirror is where you stand in front and you look at yourself, wow, I'm very well dressed, I'm very well shaped. But the cameras are the people that will give you the feedback. Sir, there is something behind your back. You didn't see that with your mirror. It is those cameras. And therefore, when they give that feedback, don't say mukusirira muribe yanu. No, appreciate that mwanditanziza kuti ndioneke bwino was smart pagulu pano. Disassociate improvement from failure. We should provide regular opportunities for reflection. We should place effort before talent. We should highlight the relationship between learning and brain training. There are people in this country that are qualified but not educated. Cultivate grit. And this evening, I would like to believe Excellency and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen in this room, one of my old-time friends, Mr. Daniel Dunga, donated 500 copies of his book. It's called The Grit. And it's basically the underlying, the spirit of it is about never giving up. Abandon image, use the word yet. Marepera, not yet. Osati repera, no, yet. Learn from other people's mistakes. Big issue, we can discuss this much later. Make a new goal for every goal that is accomplished. Life belongs to the people that are discontented. Take risks in the company of others. Easy season got taken. Try something new. Walk the uncharted waters. Try new territories. Try new boundaries. Think realistically about time and effort. And finally, take ownership over your attitude. Don't continuously pass the buck. See negomandiao. Take ownership. And therefore, what is mindset change? It is the departure from one's common or usual thinking style, the change in your beliefs or something in your mind. You surely can change your mind. And in this paper, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we discuss whether mindset can actually be created, whether mindset can actually be changed, how it can actually be sustained. So for instance, how is mindset created? And Professor Dweck has noted that many people are trained in either fixed or growth mindset since childhood, either through the way they are raised or through learning experiences. We become who we associate with. These students end up being actually more concerned with how they are being judged and actually paranoid, especially that they may not live up to their expectations. And we go on to discuss how it can actually be changed. We need to believe that we can change the status quo through persistent and adaptive effort. We can transform our country from poverty to prosperity. There is a typo there. It's the other way around. It's not from prosperity to poverty. It's poverty to prosperity. So we'll correct that. But we will only do that if we believe it can be done. Because others have done it, we will do it. How is mindset sustained? And you have NGDS 3. Under the core of it is building a productive, competitive, and a resilient nation. In that case, we are very lucky. At least we have a very clear vision. But the question remains, how do we realize and sustain this vision? An example of a mindset is that of the people of Israel. In the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 2, he said to them, I'll make you into a great nation. I'll bless you and make you famous, and you'll be a blessing to others. But it is the belief that is much more important. And that's what has driven that nation. The people here, the people of this country, have also been spoken to that God will make us a great nation. And we must believe. And we must sustain that belief. So that is what must be our mindset. What are the friends of a positive mindset? And as I said it before, you become what you associate with. If you want to become a good footballer, you will not spend time with people that play bow. Nothing wrong with bow. Or nothing wrong with golf, as an example. But you can't become a good footballer by playing basketball. It's not going to happen. So as we go, the gist there is, let's associate with people that have got that positive mindset. Successful people. Even back in school days. If you want to be good at math, you spend time with people that were good at math. Not people that were good in English or French. So the point here is, let's associate, let's create models, role models as we grow. We will like or dislike change. And why will they dislike the change? Obviously, first is insecurity. But guess what? The only constant in life is the change that we fear. Let's automate this system. The first question is, how many people are going to be fired? For goodness sake, let's ask the question, when we automate people, how many people are we going to train to run these machines? You're creating jobs. You're not firing people. Fear, resentment. We need to associate with those people that have got a progressive mindset. Is it all just about mindset? Or is it about consolidation? Or is it actually about both? It is correct to say your mindset is the most important single ingredient in the formula to success. We can be prophetic all we want, but it is the attitude to say, here is the prophecy, then we are going to make sure that the prophecy happens. We should train our minds to see good in everything positive. And therefore, like I say, literature that we review is there. for all to see. Many people here are scholars. They can go and do their own literature reviews. I would like to now bring us back home, closer to where we are. What things should we be changing? At this point, I'll be talking about what I think are the common issues in our country that if we don't pay attention to, perhaps one day, and I have stated this many times, one day we should agree to delete the word development from our discussions. Because unless we change the way we think, unless we change our attitude towards success, we perhaps will not be achieving very much. However, the reason is not to be here standing and be a prophet of doom. It is actually to challenge all of us to rise up and think different than we have done hitherto. The change we talk about, the transformation we talk about, the reforms we talk about, the development we want will not fall from heaven. It is going to be done by the people that are here, the people that are listening, the people that are watching, the people that CHILIMA was talking about. And those people are the people of Malawi. We need to move away from this mindset where everything that we see, what we think is good, is foreign. A healthy dog is gawati zungu. As if you can't have a healthy Malawian dog. A tasty chicken is ngugu ya chizungu. Drinking juice, amakalamon wa chizungu. We need to free ourselves from that bondage. We can do good things and others can copy. And we should move away from this attitude of undermining ourselves, undermining what we're capable of doing. As a people, as a nation. So, just a few. Some of them will be controversial, but guess what? This is a discussion. Number one, obsession with trivia. So different WhatsApp groups. When you post a cartoon, immediately maybe 50 comments will follow. Moto udibu. Try and post something to say. Who has an idea how we can transform this country? Dead silence. We don't want to engage in serious, life-changing discussions. For goodness sake, we are not a cartoon nation. You see, even comedians are paid for it. Don't be a comedian for free. Others get money for it. So if you want to be a comedian, do it properly and get money for it. So this attitude, our obsession with trivia, envy. And it is there in the national anthem. But this kind of envy is not the one in the national anthem. It is a result of, in some cases, sheer pettiness. And Excellency, you excuse this next word I'm going to use, which is sheer foolishness. So and so has lost their job. Eheza klabu no difanane. So and so has lost their mother. Iinde difanane magowa watu na feso na mwalia karikari. No, but this is what we do. We need to move on. We need to unlearn what we have done in the past. we really must move on. Opportunistic tendencies. No apologies for the words used. People are paraded on TV to defend, and I'm talking about the TV in this country, to defend silly things, and they actually get paid for it. So they will do it with this regime. After that regime, they will do it with the next regime, and they will try and do it with the other regime. The goodness is, you probably have a wrong dial now. Not with the president that I know. We need to deal with this attitude. And they hide under the banner. Who told you that Boma changes? Malay government is Malay government. Boma doesn't change. What changes is the ruling party and the leadership. And then there is this whole business around man-made crisis, the creation of panic. Your Excellency, mukangopanda panga kuti lero pofika mawa ndi kuti basi. Inuyo anthu atenda kuti ndi kuti president aya basi. But this is what we do. And I'm using the president as an example. It applies to me. It applies to, we are all leaders in here. There are traditional leaders here. There are faith leaders here. There are business captains here. Panic. They wait for you. You've been sitting in the office from 7:30 through to 12 o'clock. They'll come to your office at 5 minutes to 12 and say, Bwana musaine ichi chili agent. Because afuna abepo. The argumentum ad hominem fallacy. The obsession with individuals and not what they say or preach. Koma ndiye nkhani, koma ina vice president ndiye amandibowa kuti inde ineso mandibowa. Can we learn to isolate the person from what they're saying? You could be losing an opportunity to move your own life, to change your own life, to move this country forward. Everybody says, we know we must do as Malawi, we just don't do it. And which Malawians are going to do it? It's us. Sabwera winners. Mediocre and absent leadership. When we are given the responsibility to lead, we should be there for the people that put us in those positions to serve. It doesn't matter at which position. Unfortunately, in this country, all of a sudden, the president, the vice president, ministers, MPs, councillors, chiefs must pay school fees, must provide everything for people. And we must change. We must move on. We must, as leadership, at whatever level, challenge the people. And there is enough programs today. Inde komande ntchito zomwe kunjira kwa mona ndipo kwa create ntchito 1 million ziteka kubilirani. 4 months of this administration as led by Dr. Chakwera. 2 months, you can write off. July and August. Copy. Almost zero activity. Activity has started now. We be a bit patient and see and have a bit of faith that things will happen. adoration or the way we worship our leaders. Pajibanda ino bwe zitiri ndani. But we all know that it is God who created us. We thank God we have a great president. That's what we should do. Yes, and thank the president when he has done good things. Thank your chief. Thank the ministers when they have done good things. Thank your party presidents and your other leaders when they do great things. Adoration is something different. We need to move away. I have said it. I am vice. There's no reason to adore or worship and not to do with the person. Respect. Follow if we are not leading your strength. These are things that we do. We need to change. Glorification of thieves. We have said this one too many times. Because we don't know the source of the money. They give us money to pay school fees. They give us money to pay rent. They give us money to do whatever it is, maybe to buy a few drinks. And these are big men. Abigi Abuera. Big Mufikan Haizanj. Big man Wanku. And 3 years later, when the president says that we have stolen 1.2 trillion kwacha from this country. Oh, no, that can't be true. Of course it is true. And how do they get to that level? It's because we clap hands for those people when they are stealing. Politics of speaking. In this country, we embraced democracy, and since then, ascending to political leadership is a competitive process. Candidates and political parties campaign to get into power and lead. I emphasize lead. What is the politics that I'm referring to here? So I'll give an example. The obsession with the 2025 elections. As if you know, number one, that in 2025 will be their life. Number two, as if you know that the people want you there. Number three, you assume that everybody that is there today wants to be in the contest in 2025. As a result, everything almost on a daily basis focuses on 2025. We shouldn't do that. We should move on from continuous campaigns. Save the people. Greed and corruption. As a matter of fact, we all agree, and we have seen corruption is rampant. As a matter of fact, we commemorate, I think it's the 1st of December, if I'm not mistaken, the National Anti-Corruption Day. And there will be messages and functions to go there and talk about corruption and how we want to fight it. One will believe, you almost come out from there that nami netaka mpirana pano katangale atha lero. But no. Abuse of women and the youth. As a matter of fact, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the cases of rape in this country, besides what I'm saying here, are on the rise. That is also completely unacceptable. Women suffering because of foolish men. The message to you people, especially the men who abuse women, whether it's gender-based violence or it is one of these cases of rape, you're cowards. And we condemn it. Tamaa sana kumenya na ndazi bambu anzano. In this country we say 52%, 56% are women. In this country we say the biggest population is the youth. How do you interact? Should the women, should the youth of this country be what we see today? Culture. There are some cultural practices that have also contributed to issues we're complaining about today. So gender-based violence, including on wedding days. And this is on wedding day. Sending your own child, and 2 years later when there are problems where there is gender-based violence, it is because we encourage it. I say, can we begin to sing better songs, perhaps? The entitlement disorder. If it never did that. Thank you. I feel better than this. The rules of origin. And these are things that we must do. Our obsession with negativity. Getting to the end, the Stockholm syndrome we suffer as a people. This is a condition which causes hostages to develop a psychological alliance with their captors. And oppressing so that they can oppress you with distinction. And I say it's something there, our obsession with lies. A very classic example. And I know it's sensitive, but that would be perhaps the best to use. You have somebody sick for many months, and you don't even care to visit them. The day they die, it is a political shock. Lady Maki doesn't know you care. Where Vice President of Sanga and Kuru to try to do this one day like this. Are we sure? This person has been sick for many weeks, many months, many years. I didn't even care to go and see them. Are we sure? use of resources, including the churches. We have seen them. Excellency, thank you. You should build. You should continue on that basis. Bring them back together. There is only one God. There is no such God in this world. As it is, I want to go back and pray as in the supreme opposition. I want to go back and pray my country. We should move. White-collar jobs. And yes, there can be technical colleges and the other initiatives today, whether it is the NIF loans or others. We need to create small entrepreneurs as we go. The president said it the other day. We should stop the culture of thinking the government people. Let's create small entrepreneurs. That's the mindset. We shouldn't always want to be slaves to other people. Let's go and create empires. And therefore, a few quotes to leave you with as I wind up. One nice one from Barack Obama. Change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. We are the ordinary people. We can do great things for this country. Nobody will fall from heaven to do it for us. We will do it ourselves. Second, Nelson Mandela, change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we see. And you prayed and you fasted, and God has answered your prayer, and He gave you a president who answers to the name Dr. Lazarus MacArthur Chakwera. He is the president you've been waiting for. And support the president. I said to somebody the other day, I'll digress a bit, but I think it's important to say, he is one president who manages 9 parties in one alliance, and then his own party, and then matters on the state. Search the continent of Africa and the world to find another who is the same situation. And even the alliance partners, because all Vuta. Mwina osavuta ndinendeka basi. But the point is, sometimes we don't understand or realize that this is the moment we have been actually waiting for, and it passes by. Friends, countrymen, there's no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. And the smallness later will fall upon, and in this paper we are saying, let's think big. It's very big. And the people that we've been discussing with know this. And this is just for illustration purposes. No disrespect intended. The IMF will come here, they will do their assessment, and they will release $17 million, $20, $30 million. Lo and behold, it will be a celebration on NBC for a 4 week. From IMF and the Adibas and Gongore, $30 million. You know, I mean, $30 million, can you even buy Cristiano Ronaldo with $30 million? We need to think big. So engage with the IMF, we need to discuss and borrow serious money. But when you take that money and you put into a project, you say, $11 billion. It's pocket change for people. I don't have it, others do. We think very small and we get contented with very small things. We need to think big projects in billions of dollars. I think that zitega this time around. We will not solve problems with the same kind of thinking that we used in Ethiopia. Ndimene zime inaokhalira iyayi yesanizina. Try something new. Let's challenge the status quo. There will be no other group of Malawians that will come to run this country for us. They are here. You are here. The ones who are watching and listening, it's us. These are the Malawians who transform this country. There won't be another state. We are not in transit, by the way. This is our God-given land. We are not in transit. If anyone is in transit, goodbye. We'll see you, next time. But at least I am not. The president is not. We are here. We are home. The ministers are there. They are home. I see the honorable lady, the honorable speaker, right honorable speaker here. We are home. Justice Commander is here. We are home. I see the chiefs. They're there. We are home. We are not in transit. It is us. How we think. Adam Smith. The real tragedy of the poor is the poverty of their aspiration. I think it's small. And there's nothing wrong with starting small and growing, yes. But a national development agenda must reflect our aspiration. That's why today, I'd like to let honorable ministers, let PSA do what they're supposed to be doing. You really think, I'm going to say 2 kilometers. Are we serious? 2 kilometers of a road. Then you have got, as a matter of fact, think about it. So you have the president, and I must be there, because if I don't go there, people will start asking questions. Then ministers must be there. Then you have got the Defense Force Commander, Inspector General of Police, the head of National Intelligence, the Secretary of the President and Cabinet, probably half of the Cabinet. If there was going to be an incident, who is going to tell the story? Killing COVID. The key is not prioritize what's on the stage, rather schedule. When we say let's do this, it's not because for want of faith, no. Maybe if we tried it, it would give us a different result. Wrapping up, how do we change? Simple things, very simple. And this is an article I keep. It was written by Idris Ali Nasser back in the days when we were reading the Daily Times. And that was the exit article. Nothing lasts forever. And if we come to terms with that fact, change will come. Because nothing will last forever. We must bring our politics. The glorification, the abuse. We must show people the way. Great leaders don't tell you what to do, they actually show you how to do it. Let the leaders give them an opportunity to show you something different. Osaka vice president or president, honorable minister, pandare di matere, inde pandare bomu matero. But can we try something different? And maybe we'll get a different result. It is the human being If we ask people in here, so who wants to change? By show of hands, probably all of us will raise our hands. The next question is different. Who wants to change? You know, you're it. But the change is us. There is a reason when God created us, He gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That we must listen twice as much as we speak. There are some people who behave as if they have 2 mouths and 1 ear. God-fearing nation. That's what God created, 2 ears and 1 mouth. Therefore, listen 2 times. People, don't speak 2 times. And you listen. As we go in this journey, we will have to collaborate. Every single person. That's what the President says on the Revelation Day. If it wasn't for this group of people, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for that group of people, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for that person, we wouldn't be here. What was the message? Collaboration. Everybody had enough to say. I invite you, as you back, those of you that like to do, go and research this depiction pedagogical therapy. Further, to also go and read this book by Sheikh Ahmad Rashid bin Al Maktoum. That's the ruler of Dubai. Read and learn. And read for those that face present. One need for that book. The beautiful lesson. In my life, I believe if there was one book for this, it was this. I don't for someone to show. And you are why I studied. I'll wrap it up. The first President of the Republic, His Excellency, the late Wazir of the Western Eastern Fund, and may he so rest in peace. He, you know, when he came up or he conceptualized Kamuzu Academy, he took the British patriotic anthem and gave it to them to distinguish as one way of developing future leaders. It is a vow, they sing it there as a vow to their own nation. Excellency, distinguished fellow countrymen, today, tonight, we need to make a vow. We need to make a vow to do things different. We need to make a vow to move this country forward. Not by word of mouth, but by what we do. I have printed, I took the liberty to print, and like I say, on Founders Day, those of you that have been to Kamuzu Academy had the privilege to go there. On Founders Day, when we have got events, and they sing that song. It's called I Vow to Thee, my country. I will play it here, not because I'm saying it to be British, but I'm saying, listen to the words carefully, be inspired, and perhaps make a vow to say, going forward, I will do things different for the sake of my country, for the sake of 3 generations to come. If you're a parent, if you're a leader, if you're a child, if you're a teacher, if you're a pastor, if you're a chief, if you're a chef, today. Listen.
Our second hymn is a patriotic anthem sung to the music of Gustav Holst.
Distinguished invited guests. We have an opportunity to change the fortunes of our country. Today, we start the debate, or we continue the debate. I want to say this. God gave us one country, and it is this country that we call Malawi. There shall never be another. Let's embrace the spirit of doing things different. Only then shall we have meaningful development in this country. I sincerely thank you all for your attention, Excellency, in a special way. Thank you for gracing this occasion. God bless.
Thank you very much for that moving public lecture. As I was sitting there, I couldn't help but think about this great philosopher. And this great philosopher is none other than Solomon. And Solomon says, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a woman thinketh, so is he. I would like to welcome you to this session where we are now free to ask questions but also to comment. And this is the essence of the public lecture. As I said before, this is how we are going to do it. You will raise your hand if you have a question or a comment. But make sure that you are very brief, but also it's focused to the agenda of tonight. You are free to ask in English or Chichewa. We'll also take some questions, as I said, randomly from social media platforms such as Zoom, Facebook, and Twitter. But when you are sending the questions, please tell us your name. Even those of us who are here tonight, please tell us your name and also raise the question. So the floor is open for questions and comments. Please feel very free, relax, think about your question and raise your hand. Thank you very much. I recognize a hand on the second row.
My name is CHILIMA, and I just want to say that was a very nice lecture. I've learned a lot. My question to you is, in your PowerPoint presentation, there were a lot of quotes from very famous people, and I believe that it's never too late for a person to change their mindset. So what advice would you give to someone in the younger generation, such as myself, to change their mindset?
Your Honor, before you respond, we will take 2 more questions and then we'll give you a chance to respond. This is another hand on the second row as well. To my left. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Excellency. My question, allow me, Your Honor, to give a very small preamble. Malawi perpetually suffers from food shortage. The human body can survive without water for 3 days and without food for 21 days. Why is it that in Malawi we have a culture of preparing food at every funeral that we have, where most of the patrons will be there for less than 6 hours, and half of the sima prepared is hardly eaten? Can we not begin a change of our mindset, whereby we will preserve the food that we produce using government subsidies, where half of the money goes only to the transporters? Your Honor, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll take the last question. Yes, I see a hand right there in the middle.
Thank you, State Vice President. This is Yamikan Koskachingwe of Current Affairs Online Newsletter. I have 3 questions. Firstly is to do with our education system. You have explained greatly on mindset change, but basically from our education system, starting from the primary to university, we are taught that we have to be educated so that in order for us to be employed or to get jobs. So currently we have more than thousands upon thousands of graduates roving around with the degrees, masters, PhDs, who are just seeking or wanting to be employed. So is it possible that we can also consider our education system so that people should be taught to be self-reliant and also to be taught, be prepared that one day they should create jobs, they should also be entrepreneurs, create different businesses or companies, not necessarily waiting to be employed? That's the first question. The second question is about companies in Malawi. We have different companies, international companies, local companies, but specifically for the foreign companies or international companies, there is a culture that most Malawians are employed as gardeners, drivers, cleaners, etc. Most of the times, the CEOs, the deputies, their expertise. So is it possible also to look at this issue that if it's like deputy might be foreign or CEO local or vice versa, in order for us to groom leaders, because there's a shortage of leaders, be it politics, religious, name it. The last question is about national agenda. Malawi.
And that should be the last one, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Malawi, since the time of Matpati, we've had Vision 2020 with the former president, His Excellency Dr. Bakri Mluzi. Then we've had Millennium Goals, ETC, by the late was Dr. Bingwa Mtalika. Then we've had another one by the former president, High Excellency Dr. Joyce Banda. And now we have another one to do with 2063. But basically, we don't have a national agenda manifesto. This is to do basically with the country in terms of short and long terms. Of course, political party or ruling parties, they have their own manifesto. But once the elections are done, every party wants to implement its manifesto. The country is left behind because everyone abandons the previous regime's developments and they pick up theirs. So is it possible that in terms of mindset change, if we can have a full national agenda manifesto that to carry over by any government or by any ruling party to come? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those questions. May I invite Your Honor to address those questions?
Right. Thank you very much for those questions, very difficult ones. What is the advice to the young generation? In the presentation here, I said people become what they surround themselves with, and therefore, for the younger generation, the best role models should, and underline should, be their parents, because if they weren't, then we have a problem. And therefore, as we grow in life, role models help. And this applies to both management development programs and leadership development programs, that we must have, role models, people that inspire us, people that we aspire to be like. So the point really is, to the younger generation, identify your role models. My advice is they must be your parents, because if they aren't, then we have a crisis. And this is why some of us, we encourage that. I mean, business people or businesses have carried on from one generation to the other because the children have learned entrepreneurship from their parents. They didn't go to school. They learned it from their own parents. They sit in the shops and they operate, cash machines and issue receipts, etc. And this is how they become businesses from one generation to the next. In our case, we have problems with people passing on from one generation to the other. Chieftaincy or kingdoms will pass from one generation to the next. And perhaps we needed to follow a similar approach with the younger generation. Like I say, parents should be the ideal, but we could also pick on somebody different that we want. Food shortage, perhaps part of the shortage, it is wastefulness. An immediate answer, because it's a very emotive topic. If you didn't provide food, these places, you will probably have a crisis. So maybe we should continue engaging in as far as the funerals are concerned. I have my own views, but let me keep them to myself for now. The education system, look, I think we have talked about it, and so when I'm talking about, and I encourage folks here that when statements or speeches are delivered, we should pay attention to the detail in there. There's a very famous saying that the devil is in the detail. From the President's SONA to the Minister's budget statements to so many other speeches that have been given, including on the reform side, we are saying the curriculum must change so that we shouldn't be creating white-collar jobs, we should be creating entrepreneurs. So from a very tender age, including the anti-corruption drive, starting from primary school. You know, back in the days we had civics. Today it is called social studies. It is not the same. And these are discussions that are continuing. So the point is agreed. Likewise, the issue of the expatriates. It was in the SONA. It was in last week's presidential address when he opened the Golden People Hotel in Blantyre. I think what we're saying is nobody says there must be no expatriates. We need them. But you can't have expatriates to be sweeping the streets. You know, it needs to be for expertise that we lack in this country. So that point is settled. And I think going forward, this is going to be followed. I have read it on more than 2 occasions. I am sure the responsible ministries are paying attention to that presidential statement. And last is the national agenda. The genesis of the one now, the National Transformation 2063, is a recommendation that was made back in 2015. So let's give that process due support. The spirit is that we have a long-term development plan, and ideally all political party manifestos must speak to that national plan. The difference will be the strategy, how you want to execute, how fast you want to achieve what is committed to the people of this country. Now, the consultations have been done. I think they are doing the last wave of consultation. My recollection is that there's a proposal to launch the long-term development plan sometime in December. There will be in between discussions, the National Planning Commission with different stakeholder groups. Now, if people are not satisfied with what they have seen, please go back and make your point. It will be pointless to come out here, launch this beautiful plan for National Transformation 2063, or whatever name we give it, then 1 year down the line we set it aside and it becomes another Vision 2020. You have a beautiful document, you can't implement it for whatever reason. So the process is underway, final presentations are there, tentative launch dates, December 2020, and you are free where you are seated to engage the National Planning Commission and indeed anybody else, because they have been going out there to consult with the people. So that's what I would say on the National Development Plan. It is in the offing. I think His Excellency's title right here when it was launched. This is now to launch the final document and adopt it as our Malawi blueprint for the next, whatever, for the 3 years. I'm ready to take the next set of questions.
Thank you very much. So we are taking another round of questions, and I would like to encourage both men and women to ask questions and also give comments. I see it. Thank you very much. Let me recognize the woman in red. And then I also see a hand, yes. In the middle, yes, yes. And the one behind, the one in pink, I can support. Yes, 3 questions at a time, yeah.
Yes, you are now. I've got one question. Malawi is a divided nation, and people, I believe, they have a lot of vision. Give an example, and by this. And if you have got this beautiful agenda mindset, and you are luring people who have got harbor bitterness, move along with them. You know, maybe Tonse Government Alliance, what program is there to heal Malawi as a nation? Others, they are treated like maybe second-hand citizens in their own country. And yet we've got only one Malawi where everybody needs to be, to have that belonging. For you to understand, I'll give an example of Nkata Bay people, Tonga. Every year we go there on 3rd March, they always talk about Munda Pepesi. We haven't, because of people who died 1959. They feel that bitterness is still with them. You talk of people of Mangochi, there's Moto village. They have got that bitterness. They say the whole village was wiped out. These are real issues when you go and find out there. And it will be very difficult to move with Malawi, which is so divided and has got a lot of bitterness. Maybe they don't feel like they belong to Malawi. What is there that you can hear these people? You heal the country, you heal the nation, that you have one agenda for all Malawians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And maybe before we move to the middle lane, I have 2 questions here from social media and I would like to read them. There's one from Twitter. Mr. Banda says, following your presentation and to see the president here, one indeed feels that you two are in for mindset change and you're working together. How will you stand up to those who practice old politics of dividing the president and his branch? There's another one from Zoom, Mr. Kosbe Upazi in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He says, we have many people working in the government today, and they have grown and have influenced mindset. They've been influenced by past regimes, and they prioritize rewarding loyalty. The fear of being labeled Suwatu leads these officials to lose their independence, and they fail to think creatively. They end up offering what the system wants to see and hear. They've grown with this mindset, and I'm sure they still practice it in the Conte government. Maybe you can respond to these 3 questions before we move to the Q&A.
Right. Once again, thank you very much for those 2 questions. Very quickly. And this is exactly the point. To start with the first question, this is exactly the point we are making. When we say, how are you going to heal Malawi? And the question is asked either to me or to the president. The impression created is as if one doesn't want to be part of that process. Now, leadership it's a collective. And all of us must then say, we have got this issue in Katabe. Here is the proposal we are making for us based on what we understand. We think this is how we are going to heal. Yes, there is the Ministry of Civic Education and National Unity. It is there, but even if it was, it's one minister and the team. It's not just them. It is all of us. How do we heal? So, in finding the solution, don't ask the question, how are you going to do this? How do we collectively resolve 1, 2, 3? Better yet is to say, for this problem, we have seen it for so many years. Here is what we think is a solution. Right, if it doesn't work, we try something else. But we continue to try until we find the right solution. Yes, and these are not nice things to be saying, because when you go out there, these are very emotive issues. I have been in both places. They are very emotive issues, and we can't downplay them. But the point I'm making is there is commitment to resolve such issues, but better yet, those that think have got better solutions, not that we don't have, but those that want to be part of the process of healing, all of us, a patient. First of all, doctors would say, we care, God heals. A patient will heal, not just because the doctors and the nurses are taking care of him, but because their friends and family also go to cheer them up. And then I've not been abandoned, I've not been collected in this hospital, and then they get encouraged and they heal. So as we go through that healing process, I want to encourage us not to be bystanders. We should be part of the process. Yes, one or two people may lead, but all of us must be moving towards the same direction. We mustn't dissociate ourselves or detach ourselves from the process of finding a solution. Number two, let me start with the last. Professionalism in the civil service. I think this is what supposed to be a political issue. And the success of this rests with both the civil servants and the political leadership. I said in the presentation, sometimes we say the politicians mislead the civil servants. You'll be surprised that the civil servants make suggestions. I am saying the truth. So as we aim to resolve this, address the civil servants, address the political leadership. If you address to the one side, you will not find a solution. We need to put these things together. Hence, the mindset and all that we are trying. Service for this and say, we are going to fix this. It won't happen. You can't cure a patient. But my friend, we can treat a patient and it doesn't work. You must take the drip and put it in the patient. The civil servant, political leadership, speak to them together so that we find it. And we look, we should depart from the past and move on. Please, can we try something different? You really think we can want to mislead people? Let's try something. Come on, try something and see. Try something and see. Let's move forward. That's why we have even changed the theme of the National Planning Commission, the Agenda 2063, to say it is about wealth creation, not about poverty reduction. That's not the point. We should be wealthy people. It's different, complete different mindset. And very lastly, in here, I gave an example when I was saying Tifanani. So the president is sitting over there and sitting over here. And yes, indeed, as they would write, the people that want there to be a crack, sleepless nights. What joy will you get when the president and I stop speaking or stop with each other? Are you going to be richer? Are you going to be the next vice president? Are you going to be the next president? Are you going to be the next minister? That's the politics I was talking about. Politics of nonsense. And we should not entertain that nonsense. We should condemn it, admonish that kind of behavior. Because it is very draining, it is very unhealthy for everybody. Ndeti agawe anthu awanda vice president, awanda president, ndeti ndi anthu. Anthu onse ndi a Mulungu. Can we move on? We need to move as a country. It's not about me, it's not about the president. I mean, for goodness sake, for all I am. This so we will remain servant leadership. It doesn't talk about me. Lead who can take the next second.
Thank you very much for that. I thought you were going to start preaching now.
Not yet.
About unity. We are taking the last round of questions in the lane and then the lane to my right.
There's a hand from the Nkosiyama Kosi here. And the others at the back.
Thank you so much. Ndithokoze kwambiri a Vice President kwa presentation yabwino. Dzina langa ndi Joyce Chitsulo, Member of Parliament, Mwanza West Constituency. Ine yanga inali comment toyambirira a Vice President. Ndimaona ngati kuti ambiri amene timapangisa kuti kumalawi kuno zinthu zisapite patsogolo ndifeyonso ma members of parliament. Chifukwa chokuti ikatha kampeni ngati chipani chathu sitinawini udani umene tili nawo cha that hurt timayisiyabe kwa masupporters athu kumudzi. Therefore ngati boma lawi nalo labweretsa mfundo zabwino sitimazitsatira chifukwa chokuti ifeyo timafunabe kuti anzathu aja aoneke olephera. Ndimati ndipempha Vice President mokupemphani through a speaker amene ali muno mukhalekonso ndi nthawi yokamba ndife ma members of parliament mutisinthe maganizidwe athu. That's why even if we are in parliament pamatha kubwera mabhilu ena abwinoti komatu izi zizopindulira Malawi. Koma chifukwa choti tikufuna kuti anzathu agwebe kuti ife tioneke madolo timapeza kuti zinthu tikuzikana for the sake of it. Tikufunika ifeyo tisinthe. Tikasintha kumuzi kujanso anthu asintha chifukwa anthu akumudzi aja amatsatira ifeyo. Tifike pa situation yokuti zabwino tizipanga limodzi. Zimene tikuona kuti zinthu zolafika titsutse chifukwa ntchito yotsutsa ndi imene yokupende for checks and balances. Koma zabwino tivomereze osati tizichita mantha kuti ifeyo ngati andale tikanena kuti apapo boma likuyenda bwino ndekuti atizosa chipani then ndekuti Malawi sapita patsogolo. Pomalizira ndimati ndipemphe nawo a VP nkhani ya azibambo kumagwirira ana ndikuona ngati kuti imeneyonso a Vice President mutayipanganso kwambiri zitithandiza mwa mafumu athu komanso bwina ma traditional healers ndiye nawo otero chifukwa chakuti mchitidwe ukupita patsogolo kwambiri kumalawi zimene zilizodandaulitsa azimayi tikudera nkhawa. Azibambo mwauze kuti kulemera sikugona ndi mwana kuti kapena uchose matenda a HIV sikugona ndi mwana titawauza zonse zija mowatsimikisira mkapasa njira zabwino azibambo empowering them kuti nonso dzuwa likamalo atibweretsa kandalama chifukwa mwina kupanga zoyipako kumakhala kuti apezeka khobiri kosamala pafupi. Ndikuona ngati titatero Malawi wathu akhoza kupita patsogolo. Zikomo kwambiri.
Thank you very much. We'll take one from that lane and we'll come to Nkosiyama Kosi. My right. Yes.
My name is Dr. Diston Chiweza from College of Medicine of the University of Malawi, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an information specialist and I'm in knowledge management. Honorable VP, recently the Director of Knowledge Management Strategy at Microsoft said there's a connection between mindset change and the knowledge management strategy that an institution employs. And I got interested in that, and I couldn't but think about the public service in Malawi. And I see a public service, and I'm glad that I'm talking to you because you're responsible for of the public service. Is that a national every time there's a new person coming on the scene, they start their own new thing. You know, creating new content of new bodies, new pieces of knowledge. And there are no libraries, no formal libraries. Go to any department, there's no library. If there are some libraries, they are disjointed and unprofessional. And yet here in Malawi, we've got Mzuzu University, which has got a whole department of library and information science. People in knowledge management. what plans in your public reform would you make to make sure that you accommodate knowledge managers and instill a career path for knowledge managers in the public service? And I know that you might mention about the access to information bill. Access to information law is about access to information. Who is organizing that information? Who is managing it? Where is it stored? I have deliberately raised these issues, I know, just to kickstart the discussion with you, sir, but I would go further to say I am available if you need help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I must say that's my husband. Let's move on to Inkosi. I'd like to recognize the Inkosi, Yamakosi, who had a hand at some point.
Your Excellency, Your Honor, my name is Inkosi Level 5 from Zimbabwe. First of all, my name is I should say that I'm quite happy that this topic is coming from the top leadership in this country. It has been, and it has always been lacking the support at the top. Now that it's coming from the top, and we see that this is a new government, we are hopeful that if you continue in this direction, people should really change their minds. Having said that, I have this in mind in regards to mindset change. Among many other problems that you find that water is one of them. Looking at the recent past budget, we are looking at the borehole fund that has been increased. But when we're here where we are today, this is the 21st century, but we are still talking about boreholes. We have so many ways that we can provide water for our people in our localities, but up to today, with these renewable energies, technologies that are there, don't you think Malawi can do better? Everyone should be able to access water. But we are still stuck to boreholes. As you're championing mindset change, I would also want you to engage Ministry of Water, the simple mechanism, and for that.
Thank you very much. I know now it's getting more interesting, and I think maybe this is just the beginning, of a road to further discussion about mindset change. May I give you a chance to respond, and after you have responded, you sum it up and just emphasize on the take-home messages. What is it that you want us to go home with?
Right.
After that, I will ask you to invite His Excellency, Dr. Magate Chakwera, to give his closing remarks.
Thank you very much. And perhaps before I respond to just echo what our convener has said, we can go on talking, but I think this is just the beginning. And thank you for crowning me the champion, but not yet. I think we have to yet identify how to champion this. Maybe I just thought I could steer the waters and see how we can move forward with this agenda. So sincere apologies that we won't be able to take more questions. It's getting late, and we shall continue at another date. The first to speak, the honourable member there from Manza West, I think. I don't know whether I should be responding or I should just be saying amen to what you say. You said it so well, and if I add my voice to it, probably I'll just be diluting. And this is something that we need. I mean, there is reforms that are happening in Parliament. We can take the discussion there. But like I said, this is a collective effort. We mustn't look at anyone to say, oh, mindset change as Yambisa Ndiawa. It's not like singing the national anthem. Everyone must sing. To sing that national anthem. That perhaps matters more. So thank you so much for those comments. The second, again, there is that offer for support. We acknowledge and sincerely thank you. We will take you on time when the moment comes. But just to say that as we go further to implement the School of Government, this is an institution that will help us with some of the issues that you have raised. Because with knowledge management, as you rightly submitted, is about the creation, sharing, storage, application as as a competitive advantage between one versus the other. So indeed, it is of extreme importance that we go in that direction and perhaps use knowledge much more, or information much more than we have used in the past. So we will surely take you on that, sir. And finally, Your Royal Highness, thank you for acknowledging the effort. Second, we will pass on the message. Indeed, we need to think different in the way we provide water, clean water to the communities. There is different schemes right now that are in the pipeline. I can speak for, I think the biggest one is Central Region Water Board, because they are not quite connected to the main pipeline. They have got schemes in different places, and they run them, using groundwater as the source. So as we go, while the ideal situation is to provide a pipe water like we do in the cities, we must keep in mind that we may have to call upon people in different communities to start paying for that service, so that it doesn't also become something that's subsidized. So the model will have to be discussed and a position taken as we go forward. But the point is made and is very well noted. I sincerely thank you for that. Now, to close, before I invite His Excellency to come and address us tonight, it is just after 8 o'clock, and I think we need to be winding down. If I was going to say what are the key messages, number one, I think all of us have to get involved. It can't be a football game where there are players and then there are supporters. If there was a possibility, all of us must be on the football pitch to play, either to defend or to score, depending on the motive for that particular game. And therefore, they can't be bystanders. So first is I'm saying let's all of us be involved. Second, let's think very big. Small $20 million, $30 million projects aside, we should be thinking $1 billion, $5 billion projects. All of that can't work. It will work. Who will make it happen? We will make it happen. Third is, like I said, a famous quote says change happens by changing. We have to be involved in the process of change. And if you want a very simplistic example, is a weight loss program. When the doctor says this is your diet, if you want to fit in suit, this is your diet for the next 2-3 weeks. Now, for that weight loss to happen, you, the individual, must get involved. Otherwise, the suit will not get involved. The suit will remain the same. It is the individual that must change. So the point really is, if we are going to embrace this, it has to start with ourselves. And very, very finally, as the people of this country, as they said, whether it is patriotism, whether it is the loyalty that we preach, to be loyal to this country, we need to stop thinking the way we sing in church, very, very passionately. And yes, it's true. watu si baadhi or yes. Also remember that God gave us this country and this country alone. So we are not in transit, we are here. And if we want a better country than we have today, we will have it. So that is my parting shot for tonight. We wish you well. The discussion will continue. Like I said, we will make the paper available for people to critique it. We will need different ideas, but this discussion must not stop tonight. Perhaps this is the beginning. We should continue. We should continue with it to see a different country. With this said, therefore, and before I invite His Excellency, let me thank everyone that was involved. First of all, a big round of applause to our convener, Dr. Chiweza from the University of Malawi, or Chancellor College. To the technical team that made all this happen, we sincerely thank you. All the protocol people, security, the people that are involved in the decoration, all the support staff from ViCE, and everybody that put their hand to make this event great. Most important, and saving the best for last, we thank you, Your Excellency, for sparing the time to be with us. And therefore, it is my singular honor to invite Your Excellency to come and address those of us that are present here tonight, and also those that are listening to us via different platforms. Distinguished fellow countrymen, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, the President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. Lazarus Makate Chakwera. Excellency, sir.
Please be seated. Wow. Your Honor, Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima, Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, and Madam Mary Chilima, Right Honorable Catherine Kotani-Hara, MP, Speaker of the Malawi Parliament here present, Your Ladyship Justice Ivy Jatakamanga, Justice of Appeal, all Cabinet and Deputy Ministers here present, political leaders in the Tonsi Alliance and all members of the Alliance here present, Your Excellencies, heads of mission, and all the members of the diplomatic corps here present. Mr. Zangazanga Jikosi, Secretary of the President and Cabinet, and all senior government officials here present. Your Worship, Juliana Kaduya, Mayor of the City of Lilongwe, and all councilors here present, paramount chiefs, and all traditional leaders here present, all the religious leaders here present, captains of industry, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, let me just begin by congratulating the Vice President for this fascinating lecture on the mindset change that needs to happen in this country. The message delivered is timely, but also desperately needed. I am therefore not only happy to be here at your invitation, Mr. Vice President, but fully supportive of this initiative as one way of conscientizing this nation about a new way of thinking without which the task of building a new Malawi cannot be done. Some people may not want to exercise their mind, but years ago, I learned from professor that I sat under, speaking after the manner of Jesus. Gordon Hunting said, "Blessed are the blank in mind, for theirs is the kingdom of fundamentalism." There's too many times we are blank in mind and then we just hold on to something and we can't even explain it. But we say that's what we are and we need to change. For this reason, in the Tonsi spirit of shared responsibility, I wish to make an observation of my own related to that subject. There are some among us who wrongly think it is only politicians like myself or the Vice President and cabinet members who need a mindset change, while they themselves are citizens or development partners or business persons do not. Nothing could be further from the truth. Like you have said, we all need to change our mind. And admittedly, to anyone who has read the daily papers over the past 20 years, it is plain to see that the approach to governing used by public servants is broken and demands a radical mindset change. However, mindset change is those who govern will never be enough. It must be accompanied by a radical mindset change in the citizenry. If you scan the social media chatter of the past 20 days, you will see that our priorities as citizens are also broken. When we still have young men in our universities gang raping female students, or a suspicious $10 billion Kwaja contract and one parastatal company to investigate, or a railway project to move goods to and from the sea, and we cannot afford to waste our time on social media gossip, because we just have to understand there are more important issues than gossiping about cocktails at state houses and wanting to make sure the Vice President and the President are fighting or doing something different. That's not what this country is about. We need to do something more. Let's not manufacture storms in a teacup for the amusement of idle and gullible minds. This is a country with serious problems that need serious people. This is a country in serious debt, with 15 million people wallowing in serious poverty, a 25-year history of serious corruption, a 100-year history of serious gender inequality. And in the midst of a 6-month battle against a serious economic crippling pandemic. What Malawi needs are serious minds who are eager to use their resources and talent to solve the serious problems of our time. And our obsession with measuring on minors is proof positive that the Vice President is right to call on all citizens to do some soul searching and ask, quote, what is it about my mindset that needs to change in order to make Malawi better? End of quote. In the same vein, we need to not be afraid to challenge each other to change our perspective on any issue that affects all of us. So national conversations must happen everywhere, anywhere, anytime, and all the time, so that in the new Malawi, no one must be left thinking that they are exempt from scrutiny. If you criticize me or the Vice President, we will listen and put our perspective to good use. But if we criticize you and don't suddenly behave like a toddler and throw tantrums because you think we owe you and your high horse special homage, let everybody think. Sometimes when I would teach and preach, lecture, I would say, sometimes even the church has gone astray, because once you think you're born again, then your brain is assassinated. Think over some issues. There's too much herd mentality. One jumps, everybody jumps. Think, why do you want to do that? We have a country to develop. And Malawi is a free country, and we must each be free to challenge everyone to a mindset change for the common good. We all need to challenge each other when necessary and cherish each other when appropriate, for that is the only way for us to move forward together without leaving anyone behind. So, Mr. Vice President, thank you for challenging us tonight. What a blessed nation we have, and we will be if we apply these things in our own lives, in our own homes, and our own profession. God bless you so much. I wish you well. And God bless everyone, and God bless Malawi. Thank you.
Oh, God bless our land. Keep it a land of peace. Put down each and every enemy. And the peace This marks the end of the public meeting tonight. I'd like to thank you very much. for coming and for your participation. And so we'd like to ask that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Malawi, is the one who goes out first together with the Vice President and all the dignitaries, and then we will follow later. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless Malawi.